all kinds, whoever you are. Everyone's welcome to this dojo. It's your boy Peter here, aka Peter Freakout 10, baby. Bringing you guys our episode of the Movie Review Show, where the good movies are always reviewed. Alright, back into our movie review today. And we're venturing back into one of my favorite genres. Raunchy comedies, baby. Hell yeah! And today's movie takes that raunch on the road. And what film is that, you may be asking? As there have been so many films in that genre that have been raunchy road comedies, such as National Lampoon's Vacation and Senior Trip. Probably a National Lampoon thing, because Senior Trip was also National Lampoon. But today's film doesn't have that label. And some may be wondering, what film even is that? Well, it's so aptly named Road Trip. But is it a trip worth taking? Well, grab your video cameras, your French toast, make sure the waiter is reliable, and your weed as we talk Road Trip. Now, Road Trip, this is a film made in the year 2000. It's directed by a guy named Todd Phillips, who was also one of the writers. Now, Todd Phillips, before this, he was mostly working in documentaries, having directed, wrote, and produced Hated Gigi Allen and The Murder Junkies, Frat House, and Bittersweet Motel, all of which I haven't seen. But this is like his feature film debut working with a big studio. Now, you may notice a name in the producers category that may seem surprising to some people. That being Ivan Reitman. Now, for those who don't know, Ivan Reitman, this is a director responsible for classics like Stripes, Ghostbusters 1 and 2, Twins, Kindergarten Cop. But before all that, he was a co-producer on the comedy Animal House, which plays into the film's production here, as he had caught a glimpse of Todd's film Frat House at the 1998 Sundance Film Festival and became impressed by his work, so much so that the two met up after, where they both agreed that it was time to step back into the world of frat boy raunchy comedies and bring those back for a new generation, which from there kicked off their partnership, where he was going to start making movies for his newly formed company, Montecito Production Company. From there, he told his friend Scot Armstrong, who he had been friends with since the 90s, about the partnership and decided to get him involved in writing a script that would harken back to the days of Animal House and Porky's. They were thinking about what made Animal House funny and reminded of the road trip scene in that film and decided to take a segment like that and make it the whole movie. They showed the script to Ivan, who agreed to get the film going as he loved the idea, and much like Gladiator, the last thing to do was wait for another studio that would fork over the money to make it. Around this time, Jeffrey Katzenberg, who had just put out Ants and was putting the finishing touches on Prince of Egypt and trying to get Road to El Dorado together, called Ivan Reitman and asked him to hand him a script that he liked. And so Ivan had shown him the Road Trip script, as Jeffrey was looking to expand the studio beyond just being dramas and animated films, and he saw raunchy comedy as a perfect opportunity. He liked it and greenlit the script with a budget of $16 million, allowed the film to go into production, and they got their cast together. Because the film was based off their own college experiences and not wanting to restrict themselves to the reputation and rules of a specific college, they created their own college for the film, which the name that this college is at comes from a mix of both Ithaca College and Cornell University. They shot the film on various campuses in Georgia, with the only real shot of Harvard being the opening flyover shot. Shooting lasted until December of that year. The film was released on May 19, 2000, the same weekend Dinosaur was dominating the box office, which meant it opened to number 3 at the box office, grossing over $15 million in a single weekend. So just $1 million below its $16 million budget. But I think it picked up because July, it made over $60 million at the box office. I think its low budget helped there. So it was profitable for the company. Probably the American Pie crew were looking for more, and I can understand, but I think also them finding out Ivan Reitman was involved helped the film's box office a bit. And I think because Tom Green was in it, and the fame he had from the Tom Green show helped a lot. Despite this, the movie received mixed reception from critics, as on Rotten Tomatoes is a 59%. Critics praised the film for taking what worked in a few of the raunchy comedies and Farley Brothers films from back in the day, while having a small sweet side to the film that they felt was genuine. I think mostly the bad reviews come from people having an acquired taste and not finding the film funny. One in particular being Roger Ebert, who described the film as just mellow and dirty and awarded it 2 stars. Despite those few minor people, it seems like the audience really enjoys the film, as it carries a 65% on the audience side, and on IMDb it is a 6.5 out of 10. So it seems like it's found its audience outside of the general critics. Now, I gotta say this. When I first heard about this movie, I thought this was gonna be one of those films that I wasn't gonna like, despite having a few laughs from the trailer. Just seemed like they were showing the best bits from the trailer, and that it was gonna be just an American Pie wannabe, where they would go more extreme with a lot of the jokes, forgetting the heart of that film, which a lot of studios tend to do when they see money. I mean, you look back in the 80s, we had the slasher craze. A lot of studios were following in that, despite there being some good ones. I will say that. There were a lot of good ones there, not to take that away. But it happens all the time. A lot of studios tend to follow where there's money. But I'm willing to support raunchy comedies and comedy in general, as it's a genre I want to see more of in some way, whether it's raunchy or not. So this was the second film I saw during my night out when I saw Disney's Dinosaur. And I'm going to hell for this. I gotta say, it was better than I thought. This movie is funny as hell. This is my type of comedy, and it's in line with my demented sense of humor that I can't help but love it. And whether or not you, the viewer, is going to enjoy this film, I think it comes down to your preferences of humor. If you like American Pie, if you like Porky's, or even National Lampoon's Vacation, you'll get a kick out of this film. I'll explain why later, though. But getting into the cast, with the cast in this film, you got Breckin Meyer, who before this was in Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. He was in Clueless. He was also in The Craft, which I forgot about. You got Seann William Scott from American Pie. He's going to come back for American Pie 2. He was also in Final Destination. You have Paulo Costanzo, I believe I'm saying his name right. This is his film debut. You got DJ Qualls from Cherry Falls. You have Amy Smart from Varsity Blues. You also got Tom Green from TV's The Tom Green Show on MTV. He's also doing his own movie called Freddy Got Fingered. Yes, that's the name of the film. That's why I used it for my Resident Evil 3 Nemesis final part. You also have small roles from Rachel Blanchard, Anthony Rapp from Adventures in Babysitting, Fred Ward from Tremors, and even Andy Dick. This is a guy who was in the Army now. He had a small role in The Cable Guy, Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, Ethan Suplee from Mallrats. You even have a small little voice role from Jimmy Kimmel, if you listen closely, which I'll talk about later. But getting into the plot is basically you meet this guy named Josh, played by Breckin Meyer, who's in a relationship with this girl named Tiffany, played by Rachel Blanchard, since they were kids. And now the time has come for them to go off to college, and the two want to keep the relationship going, so they decide to go the way of a long-distance relationship. Despite the push from his roommates and friends, Ruben, played by Paulo Costanzo, I believe, again, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Paulo Costanzo, hope that's the way I'm saying it right, but also E.L., played by Seann William Scott, they want him to score a night with this girl named Beth, who the two study together. One night through a party, and through some dumb luck, the two end up having a night together, and it ends up being filmed. And the tape accidentally gets sent to Tiffany. So in a state of panic, Joss decides that with his friends and this kid Kyle, played by DJ Qualls, who they rope into this situation to use his car, that they're going to set out on the road to get to her campus and get the tape back before she gets back from her parents' place. Meanwhile, you have a side story about Barry, played by Tom Green, their other roommate, wanting to feed this snake in their room. You also have Kyle's father, played by Fred Ward, who believes that his son has been kidnapped from his college and he's trying to save him. And there's also this preppy douche named Jacob, played by Anthony Rapp, trying to get Josh expelled from college. so he can get with Beth. So now Joss needs to make it to college and get the tape before Beth sees it. Will he be able to get there in time and save his relationship? Will Barry feed the snake? Or will the viewing of the tape lead to a domino effect that ruins Joss's life? Now, Road Trip is a film on a story front that gets story right for what it sets out to do. Much like American Pie, it's a setup for raunch and jokes that harkens back to the 80s comedies. And that being said, it still maintains the heart that film has, and I like that that's the case here. But it also harkens back to road movies like National Lampoon's Vacation, most specifically the first one. And I'm mentioning that because that's very clear of the influence of this film. It has a bit of that raunchy side that the first National Lampoon's Vacation had before they really started taming them down with the sequels, even though I like Christmas Vacation and Vegas Vacation. But also you could see a little influence from Cheech and Chong, among many others, and I like the setup of the story. I know there's some that have said, oh, it's mean-spirited, oh, someone would be in therapy if this happened in real life, specifically the stuff with Beth and Josh and how they filmed the video and how that's sent out. But when you look at it in context, it's all based on accidentalism, and it wasn't done purposefully, so you could forgive the setup of the story, and I think it makes Josh all the more likable. The payoff at the end makes it funnier, so nobody is hurt, and it doesn't make the comedy feel mean-spirited. And I feel that makes it better than it has any right being. And just the road trip these guys go on, that they find themselves in, like the all-black fraternity where they play a prank on them thinking they're racists, or the nurse that gets turned on by collecting sperm, and just other things not involving the raunch humor, like Tom Green, he's trying to feed this mouse to the snake, but the snake won't eat it, and he bites him, and he's like wiggling the snake around like this. That was hilarious. Or even the moments with Fred Ward and how he's this retired cop and he's very protective of his son. He thinks his son got kidnapped by some gang and he's making a big deal out of nothing, going and beating up the hotel guy that they were at. So it's not just relying on raunchy humor. There's something there for everyone. And a good chunk of it is really funny, especially the moments where he is narrating and he's talking to the kids and they're like questioning, wait a minute, there's some flaws in the story. And just Tom Green's talking about a particular scene where Amy Smart's character's talking with girls in like this locker room and they're all naked, and which I can't show here because I'm not getting a strike, but he's talking about how, oh, this one with huge tits comes up and this kid's smiling. It's so fucking funny just how Tom is talking about it, and the kid's like, I'm loving this. And he's not listening to the people like telling him, I don't believe it, it's my story, I'm telling it. So yeah, I will say though, not all the humor works, like the dino scene with Hortillo Sanz and he licks the powder off the French toast and puts it in his pants and you see him farting on it. That I thought was more gross than funny. Or the whole thing with DJ Qualls, who of the main actors I will get into because I do have something to say about him deeper into there later. But you see in the film he sleeps with this big woman and he collects her cheetah underwear and it's like this huge pair. I was like, ugh, that was just gross and not funny. Someone who loves the sight of a woman in her underwear, that's where I'm sort of like, yeah, don't need to see that. That's one person I would not need to see in their underwear. We get it though. She's fat and you fucked her. It's not that I'm offended. It was just lame. But for the most part, it's a solid script and it's really funny. And it succeeds at doing what it sets out to do and catering to the audience that it was aiming for. Now, on a technical side, judging by the story like this, it isn't going to be a film that's trying to be dynamic or high stakes raising in the scale of, say, Mission Impossible 2, especially considering Todd is a first-time director. So obviously the film's nothing special and it does come across a bit sloppy. But I think it works for the film's tone and the frat boy feel that it was going for. I think it's got a good look that really ties into the film's tone and what it was going for. I think Todd works well with the small budget that he was given. I think he gets some capable shots of the campus or the moments of them traveling. There's some nice shots of the highway and there's some cool tricks with the editing. I like the speed up effect as they're driving driving. I thought he did give the film in those moments its own identity when it came to that. It wasn't trying to be a copy of Harold Ramis's direction, or the guy did Porky's. He's doing his own thing. And I think he gets some good comedic timing out of the cast and directing comedy and setting up comedic situations that I think lead to a payoff. And his shots in those moments, there's a lot of energy to them, especially Tom Green scenes. It's definitely not a movie you're going in to see top tier directing, so don't be expecting Scorsese. But I think for his first time job directing, Todd did good. There's also a great soundtrack in the movie, like Mr. Eels, Twisted Sister, Ween, Run DMC. So if you like that sort of music, that fits each scene that it was going for. And for the cast, I think he gets a lot out of them. Breckin Meyer, I think, does great as the lead. I like the fact that his character isn't a copy of the characters in American Pie, but he's someone who has morals and isn't going to jump on the nearest woman, but he wants to hold out to be with this girl. I thought that was a nice change of pace. And I like the fact that this whole thing that gets in motion is clearly not his fault. So I think that aspect of the story made him all the more likable and wanted you to root for him. And I think Breckin did well with the material he's given. He's not given any physical gags, but rather him reacting to comedic situation, because I can't see him going with the route with being physical as opposed to other members of the cast who I see them doing that with. Aside from him, Seann William Scott, I also think does a good job. Yeah, he's doing a more laid-back version of the Stifler character, or restrained, I should say. The restrained is the better word. But Seann William Scott, everything I've seen him in, he's always got this charm to give to the characters that do help ease whatever annoying side the character could have. And I think he works well off the cast and his reactions to more raunchy situations. The scene with the nurse, especially when he's trying to earn money by donating the sperm, and the nurse is milking him to get the sperm, best way to put it, and just Sean's facial reaction to that and the energy in that scene. You could tell he loves playing these types of characters, and it shows here. Paulo Costanzo, I also enjoy as the pothead of the group. I like his scene with Andy Dick where he asks him if he can buy drugs, and Andy's giving him shit. What else would you like? Would you like a fresh towel? Which, for his scenes, Andy Dick, I got some laughs out of, even though I'm not the biggest fan of him as an actor, and I know he's insane in real life. Seriously, though, he needs to lay off the drugs, and he can be annoying, especially his Lion King 2 role, but he did a good job. Paulo especially does well, especially the scene with Barry's father when he's talking to him about where he wants to go with his life. I thought he did well there and really helped make the character above being the typical pothead we've seen in these types of films. I will say of the cast, DJ Qualls I found to be the weakest of the group. I don't know, I didn't find him as charismatic as I think the other guys were. I just found him limited in range in terms of delivery, at times very one note, and just not really a fan. Probably this has a lot to do with the fact that this is one of his first feature roles, so he's not going to be Brad Pitt. The more physical stuff he does well with, though, getting into that fight with his father at the end, that I'll say. I think he did well there. Amy Smart, I liked a lot. Helps that she's smoking hot in this film. You even get to see her titties, so that helps a lot and gets me in a better mood, if you know what I mean. But I like the wild girl persona she kind of has, and she's willing to videotape her and Josh's sex, but also has a backbone on her when she thinks he's cheating on her, and she goes to this campus and tells this chick who ends up destroying her boyfriend's car. That gave me a good laugh. So Amy did good for what she was given. Anthony Rapp, before anybody says anything, yes, I know he went through a lot in real life. Some very awful things happened to him. I won't get into detail on here. You can look that up. But I'll say, though, I thought he did a good job in this role. It was weird seeing him play a douche when I mostly know him as the little kid in Adventures in Babysitting. But I thought he played a good preppy douche that you wanted to slap in the face, as he thinks because him and Amy had a one-night stand, he thinks they're in some relationship, and at points comes off a bit obsessed with her, stalking her, trying to get into the party to win her. So he does well there. But probably the best part of this movie, and I know a lot of people may or may not agree with me on this depending on how you feel about this guy, but Tom Green, baby, is the best part. Now, whether or not you find him funny in this film is going to depend on how you feel about him as a comedian. And I personally love him. And as someone who enjoys the Tom Green Show and its comedy, it's always a joy when he's on screen with his scenery-chewing presence, which is very in your face. And because of Tom and just how energized he is, he's not phoning it in. He really makes the character so much fun to watch, especially his scenes with the snake and the rat, and just how whenever somebody comes in the room, he's always asking, "You here for the feeding?" Or he's ready to eat the rat. That had me hilarious. But Tom Green did great. And if you're a Tom Green fan, you're going to love this film. Makes me excited to see Freddy Got Fingered. Besides those guys, you got Fred Ward, who's DJ Qualls' overprotective dad. And he's also on this journey to find him. It's Fred Ward. And just how I mostly know him as the serious guy. You look at like his character in Tremors. It's funny to see him in a comedy like this. And just how funnily serious he is about this whole situation. I think he did well for what he was given, and definitely is fun to watch him in this sort of situation go through and just do what he does. I know Todd Phillips has a small role in here as some perv on the bus that starts licking Amy Smart's feet. Yes, that happens. Worked for his scene, I guess. Do like his delivery, like, "Sorry, but you have very nice feet." Rachel Blanchard, fine. Not really much to say. She isn't in the film that much. I definitely think Amy Smart is the better actress in this film, look-wise especially. Jimmy Kimmel, who has a voice as a dog when one guy's high. Yes, I know Jimmy Kimmel's a twerp in real life, but I did get a laugh out of him in this film. Tell that bitch to make some pancakes. That gave me a good laugh. But other than that, it's a good cast that does good for what they're given. I've touched upon a couple of the cons, but if I do have one more, one is that I wish the trip went on a bit longer, because the trip does feel like it ends a bit too quickly. I wish there was a bit more to the trip towards the end. Like there's a part where they drive through Vegas. I wish they were in Vegas a bit more, and I think that could have led to some opportunities for comedy and have more to the story, but they don't go there, and you could argue it serves as a backdrop for the scene, but I just wish they did more in areas like that. The film's funny enough as it is, but I want to see more moments of those guys in areas like that and interacting and working off one another and distracting themselves from the problem and kind of having a bit more on the already great arcs that they have. That's really my only problem with the film. Besides that, bottom line, Road Trip offers up a great trip of sights, raunch, and hilarity that you'll find yourself wanting to take the trip again and again. If you like movies like American Pie, National Lampoon's Vacation, Cheech and Chong, Porky's, or even Beavis and Butthead Do America, you'll find yourself having a great time with this film. So yes, I highly recommend you check out Road Trip. It's a great time. So when it comes down to it, the final verdict I give Road Trip is a 9 out of 10, and it deserves it. It therefore gets the Alexandra seal of approval. Definitely, I think, probably the most fun I've had with a comedy this year. I know that we're still working through the year, and there'll be some other ones. I still got Scary Movie to watch, but let's see what they could bring with other comedies, because I don't think any other one will top this one. But we'll see. Still got some more of the year to go through. But yeah, that is my review for Road Trip, and next time I am going to work on my review of Titan A&E. I'm still working on the Mission Impossible review, just writing up a bit more of that. And recently, for those who don't know, I've been keeping up. I beat Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, so you'll be seeing a review on that soon. I got a few other stuff coming along the pipeline, so be on the lookout for those. But that's really where I'm going to end this video, you guys. If you guys like this video, be sure to leave a like, rate, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of Road Trip. Do you guys enjoy the film? Is it as funny as I'm making it out to be? Do you guys agree, disagree? Let me know down below. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe again, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.